there was $10 million missing. And our RICO insurance covers up to $200,000 for an individual deposit and only up to $4 million for a claim, a total claim. And so if there's 10 million missing, that means there's a bunch of people who bought iPro Realty's listings whose deposits may be in jeopardy.
This episode of the Under the Table podcast is brought to you by Shrubs.me.
They say AI is taking everyone's jobs, and honestly, no one knows whose is safe. But here's the thing. When you own your audience, your content, and your brand, you don't wait for someone else to save you. You build your own future. Shrubs puts everything you create in one beautiful hub. More reach, more fans, more income. Shrubs.me. Your future, your rules. And when you get there, I'll be right there with you, helping you thrive and grow.
Can we talk about the big news of the day?
Okay, what's the big one?
Is this not big? Is this iPro Realty?
That's a big one. Yeah.
I feel like that's a pretty big one. Misuse
Sure.
or
$10 million missing from the trust account's a big deal. I mean, the whole point of RICO, the Real Estate Council of Ontario, to manage trust accounts, and this is something that obviously didn't always happen, where trust accounts before didn't exist, and then once they weren't audited as well, and now they're audited, and there's insurance and all that kind of stuff, basically to protect the consumer. So when you put your deposit in a real estate brokerage's trust account, you know it's safe. That's the point.
You think it's safe?
Well, that's the theory behind it, right?
It's supposed to be safe.
You're going into a trust account that is monitored and regulated and audited and insured, and don't worry, you're going to buy that house that you dreamed of buying. But what happens is you started to get all these brokerages that came about, and I'm not pointing out iPro or anything or bashing them in any way, but bottom line is they are a low fee structure. That's what they are.
Really?
They say to their agents, not whatever their agents offer their clients, I have no idea, but they say to their agents, you will not pay us very much money at all. Join our brokerage. So they were able to get 2,400 agents, which is a massive brokerage.
17 locations, right?
Okay, it's a massive
offices.
brokerage
That's
to have 2,400. The issue, though, with that type of model is you got to be able to pay the bills. And if you got 17 locations or however many they are, they got to be able to afford to pay for admin staff there and rent and fixtures and all this stuff that they got. Like the overhead cost is too high. And that model, those two things just don't work.
Well,
you're not collecting any money from your agents, but yet you're putting out a bunch of money every single month.
It's not too high if everybody is adding to the pool more than just like the shitty fees that they used as the loss leader at the beginning, right?
Sure.
Right.
But let's look at the numbers. 76% of agents sold 0 houses last year. If you join a company like iPro, and I'm not bashing them in any way, there's probably great agents who work there, but chances are you're thinking about it going, I don't sell a lot, so why should I go and pay a full service brokerage, a monthly fee, and all these other costs, because I'm not selling anything, so I might as well go with like the cheapest option for me personally, which makes sense.
I don't need training. I don't need a good admin staff.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Bottom line is, if they want to do that, they can. But what happens then is the 2,400 agents that you got aren't very productive. So when the market changes,
they're productive enough as things are going up and everybody's selling everything. And, it's not 76% didn't sell anything last year. It's like 20% didn't sell anything last year. But the swing, especially for these shitty places, I can say it, TK, this place must have been a shitty place because it's one of those, it's like a 1% commissions if you come here, and there's no desk fees, and we don't do anything for you, but that's okay because you don't want anything from us. It's like one of those kind of places, right?
Well, I'm not saying nothing, but what I'm saying is,
but for 23 years, it worked. Or they've been pulling this accounting scheme for 23 years. It could be both.
Whatever happened, there's probably a lot of great people there. There's money missing in the trust account. And so when the audit happened, which I don't know how often an audit happens, but when you got thousands of brokerages like that, probably maybe over 2,000, 3,000, I don't know. That's a lot of brokerages for RICO to basically be auditing all the time. So they're obviously not. No. So it means that when they finally did a full audit through their accounting, there was $10 million missing. And our RICO insurance covers up to $200,000 for an individual deposit and only up to $4 million for a claim, a total claim. And so if there's 10 million missing, that means there's a bunch of people who bought iPro Realty's listings whose deposits may be in jeopardy,
Oh,
or
God.
the commission. Most likely, the commission would be the first thing to be an issue. But again, I don't know all the details of all the accounting. For those agents, might be at risk as well too. That commission may not be there anymore for them to collect.
So let's kind of dig into this a little bit, okay? So you got this brokerage with all these people, and like, how many people do you think, TK, at the brokerage have to be part of this in order for it to be able to happen, right? Like,
One.
no, it can't just be one, okay?
One.
How is it possible that it's one? Okay, you don't a company
I'm
this
not saying it
size.
is or it's not. I'm just
That's
saying
your
how many
guess?
need to be. No, how many need to be? Only one. The
No.
person who controls it.
No, that's naive, TK. It's more
I'm
than
just
one.
saying. I'm just
They-
saying. Only one person needs to be because they can mislead everybody else.
A company of this size has
Yeah.
to have some form of accountant or controller or bookkeeper or maybe even
Look,
department.
you're naive. You're giving them too much credit.
No, this is
All
how
it
it
needs to be
works.
is one guy. A lot of the times in the past, when they actually go through these things, and I've
Uh,
read the case studies from the 90s and more recently, there's been a few, but mostly from the 90s, and lawyers' trust accounts too. It's the main person. I'm not saying
lawyers
it isn't
trust
this person.
accounts.
I'm not saying it's the same person,
I'm not
but
saying
it's the
that.
main guy who's got.
I'm not saying it's not the main guy who's behind the whole thing, but
Yeah.
somebody had to go, um, there's $10 million missing.
Yeah.
Right.
Darryl,
And then,
you know your paycheck that you get every week,
yeah.
every Friday. You
You
like
want
that
to,
paycheck,
you
don't
like
you?
that paycheck,
That's a good
don't
paycheck,
you?
right? Good,
Yeah.
good.
Well,
All right, good.
listen,
I'll see you on Monday. Okay.
somebody went to Rico that was on the inside that knew that something was up because, like you said, Rico's
Mhm.
busy counting the fees they bring in every month, and they have to maintain their bookkeeping on that. That's a full-time job, I'm sure.
Rico's fees aren't like that. You're thinking about Treb. Treb is the
Well,
money. The
Treb's a
money.
whole other thing.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Rico is out there pretending like they do this, and now they found something. They're going to make a big public stink out of it because
Makes sense.
it makes sense, right? And it's
Makes sense.
unfortunate that it's right now, but what's the chances that iPro Realty just started doing this, right? And it got so bad so quick that they had to take 10 million bucks right away.
Listen,
And
I always give people the benefit of the doubt. Even the
nobody else
fraudsters,
noticed. Okay.
when we're doing those fraud cases, when
Hmm.
people are scamming others for investments and all that kind of stuff too. Like I always look at it like the person started off with good intentions. They had a few good investments,
Sure.
they had a few good runs, they made some good deals, and then they started living the luxury lifestyle. And in order to keep up with that lifestyle,
That's your
they
dream.
had to.
That's your scenario. A lot of them are like, okay, I know a lot about how
Listen,
money works, and I'm gonna pull a
no.
scheme here.
No, it's not. That 10
Yes.
million, I
Yes.
guarantee you, is gone.
Gone.
It's never somewhere else. They never like
Oops.
we've recovered the money that was
That's what I'm
stolen from the trust
saying.
account over the last 20 years. No, it
Somebody had a
was
good idea at dinner.
used
Ooh,
to fund something else, and the money's
something
gone.
else.
Chances are that's what it is. I'm not saying that's what this is on iPro, but in most cases where money's
Generally.
stolen or there's fraud, there is somebody at the helm who is living way above their means.
Yeah. Don't worry, Rakesh. I swear it's just a loan. I'm going to pay it back in a couple of weeks. I'm just a little tight for money. Don't worry about it. Just put it into shareholders' advances and we'll talk about it next quarter. Okay, Rakesh?
But Darryl, we're not supposed to touch the trust account money. That's people's deposit. That's their life savings.
Well, listen, Rakesh, this is just how it's going to have to be because otherwise, do you remember that thing you did for me a couple of months ago? Well,
For the last time, Darryl, my name is Rakesh, not Rakesh.
it doesn't matter. Get the fuck out of my office, you son of a bitch. Okay,
All right.
listen. I don't know what happened there, but I do know that it does take more than one person at an operation this size to realize and to make materialize the disappearance of $10 million. Okay.
There could be some aiding and abetting. There could be some, people who are working
little
as
bit of hush
as a
money.
form of as a form of cooperation. But generally speaking, the benefit all went to one person in most cases.
Well, there's two partners that started this thing. So I wonder if it was a deal they had going together. I mean, what did they did they need the money to save the business? I mean, that's a big fucking hole to dig for a real estate brokerage, right? Like, do
Well,
they
you
have,
think you're going to get it back. You think, okay, we got to pay the rent this month. Okay, we got to pay those salaries this month.
holy
We got to
fucking
do all those things. Like, those are
dumb.
other things. So where did that come in another situation, not iPro Realty? Could be, hey, I don't want to show any weakness. I don't want to let people down. I don't want people to
Yeah.
think I'm a failure when you should have gotten out of those leases
Get the,
2022.
yeah, get
You know
the
what I mean? You
fuck
should
out
have
of the
looked around and
leases.
said, "What the heck? Our
Sue
business
me.
has gone down." Like
Yeah.
we're up big over year. We have some recruiting. We have some market share increases. When the market changes, people want to go with a more familiar brand, all that kind of stuff. But that's not normal. The average agent is down. So I mean,
Well,
the average brokerage must be down. And so if you've got a
for
brand that's
sure.
not as whatever you want to call it, reliable or has as strong of a brand presence, they could be down 50, 60, 70% year
For
over year
sure. For
on
sure.
their income.